Welcome back to Yahoo Finance Live. Meme madness still very much in session. You can see GameStop, AMC, Bed Bath & Beyond all ripping higher on this Friday morning. Check out Bed Bath & Beyond up 8%. Why? We never really know. And then AMC up about 2.5% after Adam Aaron tweeted a meme this morning about those ape shares that they're putting on the public market after that much awaited announcement earlier in the week. But we'll keep that there for right now. Continue to keep you tabs on what's going on in the meme market. But if you are plugged into the FinTwit world, you will have no doubt seen the Litquidity account, or Lit, known for its premium meme content, banker gossip, and merch. And Mark Moran, one of the minds behind that account, now going off to start his own thing in the form of Equity Animal, which hopes to bring some flair to investor relations and corporate marketing. Mark's here on set, along with Yahoo Finance's Alexandra Semenova for this conversation. Mark, great to have you on the set.
Thank you so much for having me, Brian Alexandra.
And I want to ask just kind of about exactly what you're doing here with Equity Animal. You have experience in the meme world and kind of, bringing finance to a more accessible crowd. What are you hoping to do with this new venture?
So what we're hoping to do here is to really disrupt investor relations entirely. It's a very staid industry that there's been no innovation in for the past 25, 30 years. Companies have been targeting institutional investors really just through traditional press releases, maybe some conferences here and there, but nothing major. What we've been able to do is, so while I was at Liquidity, we fell into working with RCI Hospitality Holdings, the stock ticker is RICK. We've essentially turned them into a company that has a cult-like following on the internet. They have a very charismatic CEO. They've been overlooked by equity research for a long time and oftentimes misunderstood by the market. So in the 3 months that we've been working with them, we've almost 2.5 times their average daily trading volume. Social mentions have gone through the roof and have really been able to show the value of this company to retail, bring in a bunch of new people and generate awareness. So we're looking to do a traditional IR approach, but also blend in retail targeting and awareness.
Speaking of retail investors, one thing that we've been talking about a lot this week is earnings calls and what companies can be doing differently to make them more accessible to retail shareholders. I know you took Rick's earnings call to Twitter Spaces. How did that go, and what should companies be doing differently in this process?
Yeah, great question. So we did do the first ever earnings call on Twitter Spaces. And so normally for an RCI earnings call, they would get 60 to 80 people, usually equity research analysts. No one would be able to ask questions who wasn't one or a top shareholder. We had over 5,000 people listen in live or to the recording to the third quarter earnings call that we did last Tuesday. And we also did a Bulls versus Bears debate when there was a short attack issued, and we had 16,000 people tune in live for that. So it's something that we're able to generate a ton of awareness, bring in more people, provide transparency for management, something retail's never had before.
So this is really interesting because, again, as you mentioned, right, the whole investor relations world is very kind of static, and you have to dial into some call. Exactly. There's no visual element to it. But at the same time, I imagine for any publicly traded company, they almost want it to be a little bit boring. Maybe they don't want it to be accessible. Yes. So when you interact with, for example, Rick, and their industry might be different than, let's say, for example, a bank, right? But at the same time, what is the right balance? Because I'm sure that they would love to get more people engaged, but at the same time, you don't want to meme it into, a joke. Right?
Exactly. And so how we think about it is that the companies we work with, they have to have strong management that can think on their feet and be able to handle questions that aren't coming from equity research analysts. So it's something that for us, we're very experienced in the FinTwit world. So my partner, Brian Hanley, he's the CEO and founder of Bullish Studio. Through them, we have a network of 150 different creators, target about 35 million investors monthly. So we really know the ins and outs of this world and are able to kind of know who to call on, who to get questions from, and be able to orchestrate the flow of that in a professional manner.
A lot of these financial meme accounts are more than just accounts that put out funny photos. They're actually making money on newsletters, merchandise. Can you talk about that process and how they're monetizing on what they do?
Exactly. So for Liquidity, for example, a majority of the money came in through advertisements via the newsletter. The newsletter exec sum has about 160,000 subscribers, mostly in finance. Also merchandise. You see some Bill Hwang t-shirts around. Everyone loves wearing those.
I need one, by the way.
Yeah, right. We'll get you one after this.
Great.
Exactly.
And a please fix mug.
A please fix, PL.
Yeah, we need one of those.
This is not doing it. This is not doing it.
Exactly. But it's something that there's never been humor in finance before, right? And especially for this younger generation, people who came into the market during COVID, you want to have a little fun. You want to have a little humor because it's this community that I think is what is driving the retail investor where, the quote unquote smartest guys in the room who don't understand what's going on, there's a community there. You look at AMC, Bed Bath & Beyond, Is that going to continue to go? Not in full capacity, but it's always going to be there because it's just fun. If you go on Reddit, you go on Twitter, you see how these people are just there for hours a day communicating with each other.
It's not even just meme stocks, right? I mean, econ data gets memed all the time.
Exactly,
But it's kind of weird because for an industry that years ago was just like, okay, well, it's just numbers, right? How do you make a joke out of that? Like, when you're creating content, liquidity or not, how do you make a meme that just absolutely slaps? Like, how do you know that, like, this is the one that's going to hit?
So, one, you have to be on Twitter 24/7. You have to be feeling the pulse of what's going on.
No sleep
right?
in this job.
And not at all. Not at all, right? It's a lot of people don't get that part of it, Brian. But the big part is that you have to, I mean, a meme is a form of art, essentially, that's telling a complicated story. The more layers you have to it, the more thought behind it, the better it's going to do. And so the more experience you have creating these, I mean, I started probably two years ago, back when I was a banker, would just find some fun things to throw out there and have grown into a professional memer as I worked my way up. So.
And are you going to keep at it with the memes at Equity Animal as well?
I am. When I was waiting in the lobby, I was creating a few memes too. So definitely keeping at it.
Your drafts must be just a treasure trove of stuff.
I don't do drafts.
Oh,
I just let it
Just
rip.
send them right off.
Let it rip.
That's my strategy.
You don't have the due diligence process where you have someone kind of just like put on ice and look it over
sometimes
first?
I'll send it to friends if it could be a little controversial or pushing the boundaries, and then I'll let it rip.
Okay, well, if you ever create like a meme school, I would love to enroll. I'm a drafts guy, so maybe I might just not have it.
I mean, I send so many into our Slack channel. I think that I would definitely
Alex
stand
throws
for
me a
it.
like every now and then, but it feels obligatory sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Mark Moran, CEO
Wonderful.
of Equity Animal, as well as Yahoo Finance's Alexander Semenova.
Gotta
Thank you
get
so
that
much.
right, Brian.
There are 3 Alexandras here.
tough.
Alexander
I get
Semenova,
it.
thanks so much. Appreciate it.